Okay, so Greg Biggins shaded it. Now we got to talk about it after the bump.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You got to help me with that corner
What's up, kin folks? It's RJ Young. I am not on Step Mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. So it's college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, let's talk about Korey Foreman choosing to decommit from Clemson. He is the #1 player in the 247 Sports Composite and one of the best defensive linemen in this 2021 class. If he had stuck with his commitment, he would have given Clemson the second straight year of having the best defensive player in the recruiting class. Now, this also does something to their ranking with his decommitment and no longer being in the boat. That means Clemson has gone from 10 to 9 and to #4 in the 247 Sports Composite team rankings. And Ohio State is still at #1 and has the highest average, even with 17 commits, among anybody with more than 5 commits at 95.25, which is ridiculous. Now, what's Foreman thinking? It looks like USC is the leader in the clubhouse because he is good friends with Drake Jackson, headed to USC, we think. His father also went to USC's defensive line coach, Centennial. Why do I have a hard time saying that word? But also, Oregon thinks they got a shot. Ohio State thinks they got a shot. We know that Foreman really liked Georgia, and we know that he liked Alabama. I expect all of those places to get visits whenever we can go, take visits again, and people can go outside and do those sorts of things. But I find this to be wild fascinating because Foreman would be just the second decommitment for Clemson to go elsewhere. And by the way, they've had a really great track record with keeping guys in the boat, because the last time they had a decommitment was the last time they saw somebody go elsewhere. It's 2014, 2015 class, right? So it's been some time, and the Clemson that you know now is not the Clemson that you knew then. That said, Dabo Swinney really sticks to his no-trip policy once you commit to Clemson. Once you commit to Clemson, you cannot take any visits. He said that from jump. He stuck to it. And you know what? It seems to have been working because, as I said, they don't have a lot of decommitments. They don't have a lot of flips. But the one guy that gets to call his shot is the #1 player in the 247 Sports Composite. And this is also a year where Foreman helps you tremendously because it ain't like you're going to get a 5-star quarterback after getting a 5-star quarterback. That's not usually how this thing goes. The 5 stars don't usually follow the 5 stars. You want a gap year so that you know you have at least 1 year where you're going to be the starting quarterback. Now, I think that Clemson's going to keep working. I don't think they're going to wash their hands of the #1 player in the country. But knowing what USC would mean to him and knowing what Clay Helton has been able to do here recently and the way they've been charging up the rankings, sitting at #5 all of a sudden, you feel really good about this, especially with Garcia already in the boat and they have a quarterback to lead. I think having a quarterback in the boat early, especially one that is highly ranked like Garcia, helps you tremendously. I think Oregon is probably going to get a really great look because Mario Cristobal had done an outstanding job of recruiting California, but also of recruiting defensive talent, starting with Kayvon Thibodeau in that 2019 class, or 2019 class, and then Justin Flo, right? And then Dante Manning. And you continue to go with Noah Sewell. And you can see what kind of monster they're building on the defensive side of the football. Go to Ohio State, historically awesome class. They are challenging the 2010 Florida class as the highest ranked class in the history of recruiting rankings. The number to reach is 324.63 because the record held by that 2010 Florida class is 324.62, and it had 28 commits in it, right? We capped it at 25 for the most part now. And none of the guys in that 2010 class are mostly guys you think of as outstanding football players. Trey Burton might be the best player in that class, and he's one of like 7 tight ends for the Chicago Bears. Now, Alabama's going to come hard because they need to begin to fill out their class. They got really good luck over the weekend with Agiye Hall, who becomes just the 3rd guy in that class for them. But they're also making a move on some quarterbacks, and by some, I mean Drake May, who they hope to flip back, who was once an Alabama commit. You also got to take into account Georgia, because Georgia just doesn't care. They are the only other squad that has been recruiting on a high level with Alabama consistently, and they've won 2 of the last 3 national recruiting titles, including the 2020 title. My goodness, words are hard. The other part about this that I find interesting is when it came about. Having a desire to take visits at a time when nobody can travel and it's a dead period doesn't necessarily lead me to the conclusion that it's just the trip policy of Dabo Swinney's, right? I wonder if that extends to who you're talking to on Zoom, who you're talking to on FaceTime. Why are you entertaining other schools if you're committed to Clemson? That is fascinating to me because this is the one time for which if I'm Dabo Swinney, I would let you do what you need to do because everybody is locked down except perhaps Dabo Swinney who got on his plane to go to Florida during Easter. All right, whatever, fine. But I don't see it as the real. I don't see the issue here. I don't see the impediment. It's a dead period. Nobody's going anywhere. You can't take any visits. Now, Ohio State has been doing the best with this, as we know. North Carolina is right there at number 2 because Mac Brown has been getting on the FaceTime. And we know that Nick Saban has been trying to wheel himself back in here because he just got his own email account. And he just got an Instagram account. Even he is having to do extra work. So I've also not been a proponent of saying, hey, you can't do a thing. I always try to let people do what they need to do and trust them to come back. Clay Helton, by the way, is real into letting that cage door open and letting the kids figure out that USC is the place they want to be. He did this with Chris Steele. He did this with Brew McCoy. He's probably going to lose JT Daniels into the transfer portal, but he already has Keaton Slovis over there. He's got Garcia coming in. This is after losing Jack Sears, right? And Matt Fink ain't going anywhere. Clay Helton has done the best job with managing the expectations of the 21st century teenage 5-star. Real good at it, and also real good at hiring offense coordinators, Cliff Kingsbury, Graham Harrell, and then cut bait with Clancy Pendergrass, brought in Todd Orlando, who didn't have a great year at Texas last year, but seems to have something figured out that he wants to employ at USC. And by the way, you really are only going to be playing against Arizona State in the Pac-12 South. I mean, Utah might be there. Maybe you feel that way about Kyle Whittingham, but I don't see them as the hurdle that many other people do to a conference championship game. And also, we're not that far removed, like 3 years, honestly, from USC finishing in the top 5 in the recruiting rankings. So it's not as if this is new territory for them. And USC is showing everybody that even after 5-7 2018 and really having to come back from the dead in 2019, then getting their butt handed to them by Iowa in the Holiday Bowl, that they are still USC. They are still the Trojans. And if they can land Korey Foreman and basically being able to flip the commitment from Clemson to USC after Clemson just played in a national championship game and is going to return one of the better college football teams in the country, my goodness, what is it that they're not going to be able to do? And that's kind of the point here. So I'm interested. I know you're interested. Let me know what you think about what Korey Foreman has decided to do in a pandemic in the comments below. Deuces.